Okay, morning everyone. Welcome to the briefing on Monday the 27th. Obviously the prospect of a good forecast over the last couple of days has woken people up. Seen a few gliders rigging already, so hopefully we'll get something out of the day and a reasonable start to the season. It's all because of this high pressure sat over us. There are a few sort of snags to it. And the principal one you can see is this sort of cloud sat at about 6,000 feet. Soggy layer just in there at the moment. It'll take a while to dry out, and it's likely to cause some spread out during the day. Chart for today shows central high pressure over northern France. This little trough line currently is just giving a little bit of rain in the Bournemouth area, but nothing too much to worry about. And as you can imagine, winds in here light and variable, various places giving different directions, but nothing more than a couple of knots either way. Pressure's quite high, so 1,024 all day around us. So stability, those showers should sort of disappear, and the trough line does sink away to the south. As you can imagine, taffs are fairly short. Farnborough, the optimistic bit first, so start at the end, scattered at 4,500 feet. Oh, that'll definitely be about right for here. I think what you see out there at the moment will slowly break up and turn into cumulus. They're giving 0305 knots. Gatwick are giving 354 knots. And Odium 0103 knots. So fairly light. And again, they're getting broken at 4.5. Just early on, bits scattered at 2.5. Can't see that just at the moment, but it might just turn into that initially for a very short period. Okay, upper winds bear no real resemblance to the low wind forecast, so a southerly drift just at lower levels in here and up through the middle of the country, and upper winds are west northwesterly, so not really a factor. You can see even up to 5,000 feet, 5 to 10 knots at the most, and in varying directions. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't get sort of varying readouts with height, but nothing too much to worry about. So that picks up this cloud that we can see. Just shows it beginning to fizzle out a little bit in the Midlands here as well. And I think it will, as the sun rises, just thin out, break up and turn into cumulus. And you can see it's quite thin here. This is the little trough line, I think, painted down here, just over Bournemouth and that area here, just drifting slowly away to the south. Temperature-wise, it is March, remember, so still reasonably cold. Mid-afternoon, 10 degrees. I think it's about right, perhaps a little bit less further to the northeast. 9s maybe. Should be okay, should be pleasant at the launch point, but not particularly warm, but probably average for this time of year. But you've got to remember that the dew points are quite low, and the dew points currently over us as well are around this. So dew points will probably go down to -3. So that's a pretty good temperature split for this time of year. Go down much further, you get a lot less cumulus, which is good news, and high cloud bases. So important bits for the soaring forecast: soundings. 12 o'clock sounding round here gives the sort of cloud loitering anywhere from about 3,500 up to 5.5. And I think little chance of spread out there. As the afternoon goes on, lines come apart a little bit. And if you plug in the temperatures, about 9 to 10 degrees, you get a line going up there. Dew points, -1, -2, gives you about 4,500 feet, tops 6.5. So quite reasonable around here. And then looking further north and west, showing again with the sort of temperatures, 9, 10 degrees, dew points perhaps lower further north, cloud base potentially about 5,000 feet, cloud top 7, but they're showing a stronger inversion there, so chance of spread out. The rest of the forecast seem to show that there's more chance of spread out further west you go, and then a long way into East Anglia, then they're showing spread out as well, as you'll see. The actual sounding, some quite useful bits. This is probably the cloud you see above us now in this area here around the sort of 3,000 to 4,000 foot mark, and there's the inversion here. As the morning goes on, this line will just move this way a little bit. The inversion will weaken, so I think it's going to be a fairly weak feature. And if you then plug in the numbers in here, again, you're getting sort of 4,500 feet, 1,400 meters potentially, with a little bit of spread out, because there is quite a bit of moisture on the ground as well. That's going to be a factor. Don't really know how to calculate for that, but the ground is quite soggy. Top Medio, they're showing lots of cloud in this area here. I think this is a little bit further east than they're showing it. And sometime mid to late morning, it starts to get soarable. And obviously by sort of 12, 1 o'clock, plenty of cumulus. It should be quite reasonable. They're showing quite a lot of spread out in various areas here. And playing that through the afternoon, similar picture. Better into East Anglia, less spread out, worse out to the west, with more spread out. So that seems to be the task area out to the north. Thermal heights, let's go from 11, 12 o'clock onwards. So late morning should be going to 1,000, 1,200 meters. And then by mid-afternoon, around the Lasham area, 4,000 feet, a little bit more, 1,400, 1,500 meters out towards Cambridge. 4.5 to 5,000 feet, I think, potential out there. And the predicted distance for an 18-meter glider, out to the north and east. Don't go too far west, folks, is what that's saying. Okay, so have a quick look at sky sight. See if it agrees. So height of thermals, by the afternoon, yeah, similar sort of thing. Round Lasham, 1,300 meters. Out towards East Anglia, east of Bedford, 1,500 meters. So yeah, they're giving a same sort of picture. Picks up the overdevelopment, suggesting it'll be quite severe out to the west, and potentially some overdevelopment and spread out to the north and east, but less so. Okay, so quite a good day by the looks of it, with this sort of low to mid-level cloud lingering for a little bit. It'll take a little bit of time to get going. And remember, it's only March or late March, so sun's still not very strong. Take a little bit of time to burn that off. It may be late morning before it actually gets going, but no reason why it should be going till about 5 o'clock tonight, or even beyond that. Okay, airspace wise, one or two things to note. Out here, they're parachuting, paragliding at South Cerney. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I suspect most people will be going up this way. Parachuting at Bryce, and that's right over the airfield, between 9 and 4 p.m. And this one here, 25 and 26. I'll just click on these. Parachute display at Benson. It says here between 12:15, 13:15 and 1500 hours. And it covers both days. It doesn't give a schedule for both days. So they are parachuting at Benson. Give them a call if you're in that area, just to find at that time to find out what's going on. This is the more interesting one. It's just slightly to the northwest of Benson. They're notifying parachute dropping from a maximum limit of 3,200 feet above the ground. Any time between 8 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the evening. And it runs from today till the 6th of April. And I will actually give them a call on this number and find out what's going on today. It could be one of those where they only do 3 or 4 drops over the course of a week or 2 weeks. But I'll let people know when I've made contact with these people. Okay, what else? There's a little bit going on out to the east here. Paragliding, Little Granston, but out towards East Anglia, it's all absolutely clear. So the only thing is the parachuting here. Right, operationally, slight challenge, light winds and a soggy field. Throw into that a jet movement, which I'll talk about in a minute, and it makes it slightly challenging. Okay, so winch launching operation, we're going to go 2-7. I know there looks like a slight easterly breeze, but it's forecast to swing more westerly later in the day. So we're going to start setting up the winch launch. We'll have the launch point about here somewhere, just enough so we can land gliders on the runway and cables on the south side, aero towing on the northern edge. Grid gliders will go here, just slightly back from the second caravan cutout in the middle here, not too close to the edge, probably 2 glider wingspans out. They can operate in this area here, grid up, can leave them there. The reason for that is at 11:45, we've got 727 inbound to us. It's leaving Humberside, in theory, at sometime around 10 o'clock. So that's why I've got a grid. Don't really want gliders, definitely don't want gliders parked on the runway, because they will be landing back behind here. And a reminder, if you are one of the training gliders or operating on the winch launch point and you're going to land on the runway, reference points here somewhere. You either land one side or the other, and you roll up to within 50 to 100 meters of the launch point. So it leaves the rest of the runway clear and the other side clear for people to land. Circuits to the north, you land grass north side. Circuits to the south, you land on the runway. It's fairly straightforward, folks. Hopefully it'll work. I think we've got plenty of tug pilots today, so when it gets going, we'll launch the grid. And I'll see you out there. So we should be setting up fairly shortly. Doing a quick runway check at about 9:30, and then we'll be setting up about the same time. We'll see you out there.